Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are going to start chapter 1 from the Magal and Word book that is titled Essentials of Business Processes and Information Systems, and this is chapter 1. Chapter 1 talks about business processes in general, and it's very important that you understand business processes and how they are supported by SAP or by enterprise systems. So we first have to understand what is a business process, and then we can look at how information systems or enterprise systems support them. So a business process is a set of steps that a company follows in order to create the output that it desires. So that output can be a product like shoes, or it can be a service like providing training for employees. So whether it is a product or a service, there has to be steps that they can follow in order to reach the desired output, to come up with the desired output. And these steps are called business processes. Any organization will have a set of core business processes. Core meaning like common. Like it's the same like when you get your education, there are a set of courses that everyone in the university must take, because the university thinks that in order for you to be a well-rounded person, you have to know something about business, accounting, marketing, if you want to be a business graduate. So again, every organization, there are some core business processes like procurement. Procurement is for buying raw material or buying anything from other companies. It could be raw material, it could be semi-finished goods, it can be consulting, like getting consulting from another company. And fulfillment is selling goods. And production is manufacturing or producing goods. Every company will have at least production and fulfillment. Procurement and fulfillment. They have to buy something from the market and they have to sell something back. The selling doesn't have to be a product. It can be, as we said, a service. So we'll talk about each individual process. So again, a business process, a set of tasks or activities that take a set of input and convert them into desired output. So this has to actually change into output. That desired output can be either a service or a product. Some of the core processes that every company will have is procurement, which is buying from another company. It can be buying raw material, it can be just getting consulting or training. Fulfillment is selling, and production is manufacturing. Okay, so let's take the example of a company wanting to make skateboards. So in order to make skateboards, you have to buy some raw material, like the wheels, for example, the board itself, and then assemble them, or maybe paint them and assemble them and so on. So they have to buy the parts. How do you go about buying raw material? You cannot just like an employee would go to the market and buy. They have to follow certain steps. They have to take approval. They have to look or find out the quotation from different vendors. They have to prioritize, and then they have to decide on a vendor, get the raw material, and then pay the vendor. So that's the buying part. When we are selling skateboards, then again we have a set of process. We wait until a company, or maybe the customer, we have a set of customers, we send them advertisements about the new skateboards that we have manufactured, and we wait for them to send us a sales order. They want to buy some skateboards. They may be a sports store, and they want to buy or to order some of our skateboards. So we get the sales order, and we reserve some of the skateboards for that particular customer. We package it, we ship it, and we receive payment for it. So these are the steps for selling. Whether it is buying or you're selling, you have specific individuals responsible for certain activities. So throughout the activities or throughout the process, you have different individuals performing different activities. These individuals reside in different departments, so they are not all in one. We don't have a department called buying department or purchasing. We have a purchasing department, but it does not handle everything. And it's the same thing. We have sales department, but it doesn't handle everything. We see in both examples that I have given you that there is different departments involved and different people involved. And you will see when you use SAP that the activities cannot be performed by one individual, that there is actually a restriction within the system to prevent one person from doing all things. So let's look at the procurement process, for example, and that's, as we said, purchasing raw material. We start by creating a document within the organization called purchase requisition. That requisition is a request for you to purchase raw material or to purchase some kind of a material or to purchase, as we said, consulting, a service or a product. So what is the purpose of the requisition? It's just to get approval from whoever the supervisors. Sometimes it's just one approval. Sometimes it's multiple approvals. Sometimes you do not, you are the one approving it. So you just create the requisition as a documentation within the system. Once the requisition is approved, you create a purchase order. The purchase order now is a request to the vendor to send you material. So the purchase order may have a price on it. The price, from where do we get the price? If we have ordered from that vendor before, so we will use the previous price. Or we may have a contract with the vendor, so again, we will have a price from the contract itself. So the purchase order is a request to send you material, and the purchase order is sent to the vendor. At this point, once it is sent to the vendor, we wait for the vendor to send us goods. And when we receive the goods, we receive along with them an invoice. So we have received goods, receive invoice. And in SAP, you will see it is called goods receipt and invoice receipt. The system actually makes sure that with every goods receipt, you have to have an invoice receipt. When you receive the goods, you have to have an invoice. And then you have the last step is for you to send payment to the supplier. So that's the procurement process. So if we talk about QU, Qatar University may create, or whoever is responsible for supplies may create a purchase requisition to order 100 notebooks. The dean approves it, says yes, it is okay for you to order the 100 notebooks. And the guy responsible for supplies would send the purchase order to a vendor, Office Supplies or whatever the name of the company, and wait for that company to send the 100 notebooks. When they send the 100 notebooks, he has to make sure that they are actually 100, they have the same price that he agrees on, the purchase order, and they are all of good quality. Nothing is damaged, nothing is torn. And he also receives an invoice that says you need to pay now, let's say 200 Qataris or 300 Qataris in return for the 100 notebooks. And then they send the payment to the supplier. Now here is the fulfillment process, selling. We have a customer who is interested in ordering skateboards, so we receive a customer order or a sales order. Right away we would reserve the 50 skateboards for that customer. We package the 50 skateboards. So that's the preparing the shipment, packaging it, reserving first, packaging it, and then releasing them out of the warehouse. Then we have send the shipment, so we actually ship the goods. Once you ship the goods, they are no longer your property. So the skateboards are no longer the property of the company, they are the property of the customer. And that's why once you send the shipment, you can send an invoice. You cannot send the invoice before, because before that, the customer doesn't own the product. And then you receive the payment, you wait until you receive the payment and you reflect on the accounting books. So this is the process for selling.